Hello movers, it started out easy, salty, gross, cold, annoying, but then it turned familiar, similar, fun, exciting, and a whole big lesson learned. This is the first week of my new normal here in Albania. Let's talk about it. I'm Paula Simon, a believer who's on a bold journey to discover my best life. In the process, I'll use this quest as an encouragement and with intention to inspire others to embrace changes. Let's start this journey at JFK. The check-in was good. I reached there very early. I look and I see that there's a lounge right near to the check-in gate. I said I will go there for the few hours because I was at the airport very early, guys. The flight was 9:30 in the evening and I think I reached the airport before 5 o'clock. It was so good that the counter was open, so I was able to get rid of one of my bags and I went to the lounge. That was the first time I had to take an elevator down to a lounge. Anyway, I reached there and as the elevator door opened, oh, this whiff of smelling good food, and the food was hot. Because I don't know if you're aware that since the pandemic, a lot of those lounges only giving you cold food and it's already pre-wrapped. But they had the food simmering there and it smelled good. Put down my bags and I checked the food out. I see there's rice and then I see there's a chicken masala. I'm very happy. Guys, I got this food and the first fork I put in my mouth, this thing is so salt. I checked myself. I said, something wrong with my taste bud, let me try again. The rice salt, I don't know, people still put salt in the rice. The rice was salt, the chicken masala was salt. It's like if somebody tripped over the salt jar and dump everything in the food. So I started looking, Paul, is your taste bud? Is there a health challenge you experiencing? How you have something so salt? Look around, I see the other guests. Everybody that had this chicken masala and rice, their plate had some of the food on it. So I said, okay, Paula, this is not you. It's in fact that it's salty. But then I had to look for something else to eat. They had a quite variety of things. They had mostly dessert and things like that. But the hot food was not tasting good. The plane, I think it was like 10 or 15 minutes late. Get on the plane, walking down, I saw the flight attendant. Guys, she had her face like she's expecting a thunderstorm. She was not pleasant. Usually they will greet you. She did not say a word. So when I approached her, I said, good evening. I don't even think I heard her answer me. But anyway, I ain't getting into no fight with the flight attendant. I ain't getting into anything with the flight attendant because you know what? She could label me a problem and I could be off of the plane. Go to the plane seat. This is the first time I ever saw a seat cushion separating from the base of the chair. Guys, and this thing was thin and flimsy. I know I said something loud. I was thinking it and I have a nagging suspicion that I said loud because when I turned around, her face moved from approaching storm to full-blown storm. Her face was very nasty. Anyway, I wasn't concerned about how she's looking. I was more concerned that my butt will be on this hard seat for a mighty long time. It so happened they give you the cushions. So I decided that cushion is going in the seat because I don't need it for my neck or anything because I had my own neck pillow. So that was it. And I'm telling you, the whole setup of the plane went further down. What I didn't think, I was so shocked about the cushion separating from the base of the seat that I did not even think about taking out a picture of it. Mind you, the plane, you know, people boarding, you have to step out of the way to put up your bags and all of that. When I sat down and I looked at the seat next to me, I saw it with, it's called like pellets. It's like it's a fabric and person's clothes rub against it, so you got all those balls on it. You see the picture there? I can't imagine it's a plane and you're having this kind of seat. Anyway, I sat down and I must tell you, it was gross because the toilet was not clean. There were pieces of tissue all over the floor. One thing I could say going for the toilet, it was very big. I never saw a toilet on a plane was that big. All over had tissue, even in the sink had like pieces of tissue in it. The food was not good. The only thing about it is that in the case of the tea was very, very hot. The water was very hot, and they give you the tea bags. The water was very hot, and that is not usual on a plane. So let me say this about the flight. It had two things going for it, three things. The check-in was easy, it landed, and it had hot water. Because we took the flight from JFK to Rome, and then I had an hour and a half, supposed to be a holdover to get to the next plane. That was something else, because the first plane was late. I was running helter-skelter to catch the next one. Anyway, the plane landed in Albania. I go to pick up my luggage, and I realized that my bag was damaged. That is what I dealing with them. So I could say getting into Albania was not that good. And then when I reached the airport, I checked the weather. I did not check it enough or properly because it was very, very cold and I was shivering. The airport is very small and they didn't really see anyone. No one didn't ask you any question. You just scan your passport and you come up. I went and I changed some money because I know I had to pay for transportation down to the Airbnb. My bag was the only bag that remained. That just shows they didn't have much people on the flight, and I don't think they had any other flight that came in before, or it don't look like they were expecting any, because I'm telling you, it is hard to find staff. You're seeing persons that selling stuff, but to actually see someone that is a staff there, I don't know where they were. Who knows, there was somewhere perhaps observing us, but I didn't see any. So I coming out with the bags and I'm trying to figure out how to get out of this place. Mind you, it's very small. And I saw one of the passengers there. He was like repacking his bag. And I asked him, how you get out? And he pointed to, it looked like a barrel. He said you have to scan your suitcases through there. So you had to go put your thing up on like a lower table. It moved when I put my bag up, then it started moving. And then when the bag went through, I barely saw someone at the side of my eyes. He came out of a room and then he pointed and told me that I should go that way. And that was it. I came outside of the airport and again it was very, very cold. I got on the bus. But on the bus, I seen things, but guys, I did not even think about taking out pictures. Why? Because on the plane, I got an earache. The pressure of the plane. It's something that I suffered with before. About 2 years ago, while in Georgia, I went to a doctor and she said it's because my eardrums were inflamed. She said sometime before you travel, if you have a cold or anything like that, your eardrum will get inflamed and the pressure is bad. And I'm telling you, this thing, I felt like if my ears would have popped, it was so painful. But when I went to her, she had given me some medications, which she said I should start drinking in like 8 days before I actually travel. And it worked so well. For like 2 years, I traveled back and forth and I did not have the problem. But coming here, it was horrible. So here am I, out with the bags, the place cold, trying to get to the bus, to get to the city center. Sitting in the bus, seeing all of this scenery that I could take out pictures, it crossed my mind. You know, perhaps you should snap a picture, but I'm telling you, I was shivering and my ears hurting. Reach the city center, get a taxi. The Airbnb host told me that the city center is so near to where their apartment is, even suggested that I could walk. He come with drawing and all kind of stuff. I look at it, I said perhaps this is something I could walk. But again, ears hurting, place cold, not know where I'm going. I cannot be holding the bag and trying to navigate with the phone. So the best thing for me to do is get a taxi. Then I realize that there is a problem. The problem is, you might see a taxi driver, but they do not know where you're going. I show the driver where I'm going, the direction, everything. He consulted with but 2 other drivers. Then he said something, I get in the car. And he was driving around and he was circling forever. I gave him the host phone number and he called him on the phone. He had the phone on speaker and the two of them going back and forth, back and forth. I don't know what they're saying, but he keep going. Oh, he was reversing, he going. Long story short, what I realized is that the homes here in Albania do not have the lot, like an address. Like even if you're in a building in Brooklyn, it will be 570 Cortillia Road, apartment 6 or 7 or whatever the case might be. If you have a home, you know it's 2636 East 96th Street or whatever it is. Their homes do not have numbers. Secondly, the address they would give you is for the main street. Let me give you a scenario. If you live in Brooklyn, you know Flatbush Avenue. The address they're giving you is Flatbush Avenue. They're not giving you the address off of Flatbush Avenue because the street off of Flatbush Avenue might not have a name. So they gave you this Flatbush Avenue and you seeing, in my case, I seen 27 inside of it. So in my head, I think 27 was the house number for this street. No, 27 was the apartment number. Mind you, the apartment is in a building, the building is in a street, and the street has no name. So it was going back and forth with he and this driver. And if I had known where I was going, I know I could have walked from the city center, not by the park, to where I was staying. And I would have reached there long before the driver. Anyway, when he dropped me there, it was easy. The entrance to the building was flat, straight into the elevator. The elevator was big enough to hold the bags, everything. Just as I exit the elevator, to my left side, there's the door, 27 on it. Went in there, and there's the next set of code. It was freezing. He asked me repeatedly when I'm coming. I told him the flight, what time I'm coming in. He never turned on the heat in the place. So I went into that apartment, freezing, trying to find the heater, trying to find the remote control to turn on the heat. And even the remote control maybe was cold because the thing wasn't coming on. I had to hit it and then. So because of that, I did something that I don't usually do. Is go into an apartment without taking pictures, without taking anything of the place. I didn't do that because all I was focusing on was the place cold. And then secondly, I was very hungry. I need to get into the bag, at least to get a tea bag, to get a cup of tea for anything. To not only warm me up, but to keep the worms down. So I was there. I finally get the place a little warm, and as I sit down and change, I said, you best don't change your clothes, you have to go and get something to eat. So I went, find a grocery store, and I got bread and eggs, and I got a container of juice and some bananas. And I came back, get something to eat, and I went to bed. That was the first night. Next day, I got in contact with Karen Ricks, which was such a blessing, because that is where the fun part start of my first week. Get in contact with Karen, we make plans to reach up the Tuesday. The Monday, I spent time sorting stuff out. I went walking around a bit. I went and got some groceries and things like that. Tuesday with Karen was so much of fun. Met her in front of the Opera House. We walk around. She took me to a coffee shop, like a chain similar to Starbucks, and it was good. Come back to the apartment on Tuesday night. Just turn around, get myself ready for bed, and went to bed. Wednesday morning, I got up, and just as I exited the bedroom, heading for the bathroom, I observed something is off. Here guys, I'm very visual. And if I observe an area or a room, anything for a while, the minute something moves, I pick it up, it moves. I might not able to identify immediately what shift, what is missing, but I could tell you right away that something is off with this room. So heading to the bathroom, I'm looking at the floor and I know something is off. Sitting on the toilet, I look on the floor and I saw this brown mat. And I'm looking, I said, this wasn't here. Right away, like I get a shiver in my body because I know someone was in the apartment that I wasn't aware of and put this mat down. The only time this person could have put this mat down is while I was sleeping because I got up a little late that morning. It was like 8:15 or something like that. And I think I might have slept longer if I didn't have to go to the bathroom. So that means I was in a heavy sleep. Someone came into the apartment and put this mat down. I inspect the mat. I was in the apartment Sunday. This is Wednesday morning. This brown mat is pristine clean. There's no way I could have been walking up and down over that mat because I would have had to walk on it. Look at the picture. Based on the size of the mat and the size of the entrance to the bathroom, there's no way I could avoid it. Walking up and down on this mat, and the mat keeps so clean because there's dust. You moving around with something so dark, and the slightest piece of lint or anything would be on the mat. I text the host. He went into this whole thing. The mat is always there on the ground. That was the first thing. I said, no, it wasn't there. I said, I would have known if the mat was there. It wasn't there. Oh, so what I'm trying to say is someone coming in the apartment to steal stuff. Did I tell you anything is missing? I've just asked you. When I told him, I said, there's a mat on the floor here. That means someone came into this apartment and put the mat down, and I wasn't aware of it. He said, okay, it's only 2 keys. He has 1 and I have 1. I said, so you're the cleaner? No, he's trying to tell me that he usually come there for the cleaner to clean the place and take back the key. That don't happen. So then he even suggests I should supposed to tell Airbnb, and if I want, call the police back and forth. And I'm going thinking, how should I handle this? What gets me upset is when he said, oh, it's all in my thoughts. Well, he's trying to say that I make up stuff. And then I went into details. I said, no. I said, because I know I get up during the night. And one of the things I do, even at home, when I was living alone in that house in Atlanta, I would make sure the ground is clear leading up to the bathroom, because when I get up in the night to use the bathroom, I do not turn on the light because I don't sleep well. And if I got a little sleep in my eyes, you turn on the bright light in the bathroom, it hit the sleep out of you. So I goes into the bathroom, I figure out the layout in my head, and I go into the bathroom and use it without turning on the light. So because of that, no way I would have had that mat in the hallway. I even told him, I said, if you guys ever travel to any country like Turkey, I even find it in Ecuador. I find it here in Albania. They have a way of putting a drainage pipe like right in front of the toilet. And sometimes you sit in the toilet, you get the fumes out, maybe the septic tank or whatever it is with the sewage system. You smell it. So what I usually do is take a mat and put it over it. They did had like a bath towel in the bathroom, which was very thin and flimsy. The minute you put one leg on it, out of the shower, the whole mat is soaked. But I had to use the flimsy piece of towel over the drainage, and it wasn't even working too good. For me, I was still smelling it a little bit. But if I had the big brown mat, no way in hell I was putting the little flimsy thing over the hole. I would have used the mat. First, I started pointing out to him all the reasons. I contact Airbnb. It was a little tough. I wouldn't say tough, but I didn't want to, because I never change Airbnb's mid-stay. I never done that before. Secondly, that one was, I only booked it for 1 week. I said, while I'm here, I figure out where else I want to stay. So I said just a few days, but after he's going to have the balls to say that, oh, it's all in my thoughts, I said, no, I need to go. Wednesday now, instead of relaxing, there I was packing up stuff. Guys, I end up instead of 2 bags with 4 bags, because I had the other 2 shopping bags with stuff inside of it and all of that. So I went online, Airbnb sorted out, and you could tell he knows I wasn't lying, because afterwards he come and say he's so sorry things didn't work out. And without I even asking or Airbnb saying anything to him, he offered to refund me the rest of my stay, which he said put in and he's going to approve it. So that I got back some of my money, and I went to this other place again with the address. And I listen to videos and I look online and YouTube, people talking about Albania. They talk about the food and what you do. No one ever mentioned this whole thing with address. The second one too is the same thing, but this one here, get to the actual apartment is even worse. It is further you stopping on a main road and then you have to come in. Mind you, he was there. Driver that took me over, again had this long conversation with him to find out exactly where he was. Then the driver had to wait because he was not there, and the driver was not happy. So he ended up charging me more money in order, because he had to wait on him. dragging the suitcase in, you're passing through like a construction site. By the time I reach up to the apartment, it is beautiful, yes, when you're inside. But getting there, my shoes had like cement dust on it, my pants, guys, I was just so tired. Along with that, that is happening in one way, but it did not remove how I feel very, like, the place is familiar. Let me say it this way. For me, Albania is very familiar. I went through Turkey, I went through Georgia. There's so much similarity between the countries. The buildings, the people, how they operate. But then there's still something different. If I compare between Turkey and here, Turkey was far more busy. It's not that here dead, but Turkey have, the business is like you feel like a hustle. If you in the big square and things like that, there's always someone trying to sell you something or the other. You're not seeing it here. Here you see more coffee shops and restaurants than Turkey. Turkey have more stores selling clothes, selling up-teen suitcases, which is something I have to look for here because the one that I have is broken and I gotta get a suitcase. In Turkey, it would have been easy. I would have been walking outside to buy bread, and right next to the bakery would have been somewhere selling suitcases. That is not here. Another thing too, I only saw one dog that you could say like it's a public dog. It's running around. Any other dog you see here, the dogs is person. People own the dogs. You see they walk around with them, some of them with clothes on and some without clothes on. In the case of Turkey, there are dogs and cats everywhere, right? Georgia had the dogs and cats, but nothing in comparison with Turkey. Turkey took the cake. So because I went to those two other countries, like I feel more relaxed here. I know there's a language barrier. I know there's a lot of shoulder pointing, trying to say time, putting up your hands. So that is the whole thing about here. I cannot remember in Turkey, and I must say this is because for the time I spent in Turkey, both places I was in hotels. I did not go to an Airbnb, so I didn't do any cooking or anything like that. But here you find, like just where I am, there are a bakery, there are restaurants, there's coffee shop, there's even a place selling fish, there's a place selling vegetables and things like that. And you still have the supermarket on the major road. But the feeling I get here is that like in every little community, you could stay in the community and hang out, because you could go to the bar or the coffee shop. You got your restaurant, you have your bakery, you could buy your water or fruits and things like that. You have fish. So you could actually stay and put your money in the community. I'm certain they might have certain things like here. They might have a place that's selling clothing or so. I haven't seen it. But in Turkey, at like every corner, you have this kind of business. There's a hustle, while here is a bit more relaxed and things like that. I got so taken up with the place, I was even thinking about renting somewhere for long term. Mind you guys, this is the case of the old Polo, not aligning with this new Polo. I went and see the place. I said, oh, things are reasonable here. I could perhaps make here my base as I travel around. Mind you, that was never my plan. My plan was to travel around and then decide on somewhere as a base. No, I decided to start doing that. So I started this whole process. I met with real estate agents and things like that. And remember, I tell you guys at the beginning, they have a big lesson that I learned. This is where the lesson comes in. I started looking at places, as I said. Then I got up one morning and start thinking, okay, Paula, if you have to reach these places, you can't get these people a check. You cannot use credit card. You have to get cash. How are you going to get cash? You look at the cash that I have. It's not enough. One of the cards, I can't remember the PIN for it. How am I going to get this cash? Then I remember I have this Wise card. Let me tell you guys a bit about Wise. Wise is a company that a lot of persons who travel, who live like nomadic life use, because the conversion rate is better than the bank. Because with the bank, not only the rate is below than was the going rate, but it's also the amount of fees that you have to pay in order to transfer money. Wise is good for that. So I had gotten a Wise account, I can't remember how many years ago. And then recently, was last year, I got the debit card, because before I never used Wise to like take out money when I travel. I will always have cash, and then I will have my credit cards. But then if I want to travel long term, I would need to, because that means I will have to be walking around with a whole lot of cash. Chances are I would need to take out money from an ATM. I said, let me use Wise, because Wise is not directly to my bank. So if somebody get any information, they don't lead directly to my Moon Eyes. But last year, while out in Thailand, I got a notification about Wise changing the whole process of you withdrawing. Wise said that you cannot withdraw more than $200 per month. In my case, because my account was set up in the United States, I cannot withdraw more than $200 per month. You cannot withdraw more than $100 per transaction. So when I hear all of this restriction, I get so upset with Wise. And my plan is not to use Wise debit card. But this is it. I made that plan. I know I'm not going to use Wise because of Wise restriction. But then again, I went off course and decided, no, I think I should rent somewhere here and make here my base. And guys, what I did at who knows why, but like 11 o'clock at night this time here in Albania, when I was tired, worrying about nonsense, should not be making any major decision about nothing, I decided to transfer money into this Wise account. Next morning, I woke up. I'm gonna be open my eyes for 2 seconds. Then this whole thing come back to me. Paula, you cannot, even if you decided that you want to rent somewhere, you cannot use that Wise account, because if I withdraw all the money that I needed to pay out for these people, because it's the first month, the last month, 1 month security plus half of rent goes to the agent as agency fee. That means that to get that money out, not only I will be charged $1.50, but I will be charged 10%, 5% of any amount above $200. Remember, the money that you might not know, the money I have to give the agent or the homeowner here is in euros. That is their base. So the calculation is more US. I will have to give them, I think, like for every $400, I might got to give them have 400, I'm like $35 US. But also, there is a maximum that I could withdraw from the ATM. It's $250 a day. So guys, it's how many days I will have to go withdrawing this $250, and then with this $250, every time I withdraw it, it's $1.50 plus 5%. I sat down there and I said, what in heaven's name you did? And then I started thinking, that was never your plan. Your plan is, even if you stay one place 1 or 2 months or whatever, 3 months, your plan was never to sign up for no long-term lease, to stay anywhere. And then this whole thing dawned on me. You see, I made a decision that I'm going to live this life and all of that. But you know how long ago I made the decision? Not that long ago. So I am still dealing with more than 30 or 35 years of old behavior. That just because I say that, okay, I change, automatically change. No, it is still there. And that is what, it's things that I would have done before, right? Making decisions while I'm still tired, or making decisions where I just get up in the middle of the night and panic. Guys, I've been doing this for a while. I could remember like panicking and, okay, I need to pay this bill and pay. Sometime I had a habit of paying one bill twice and thinking I paid 2 bills, and then when the second bill sent me a notice that I got late payment, I'm about to chew out the person, say, how you send I got late payment when I pay? Then I realized I did not pay 2 bills, I paid 1 bill twice. So all this is all in the process of me dialing back. My plan, and the thing I said to myself, is that I will take at least 24 hours before I make any decision. Paula, stop at the table. So I sat there now and said, you took money out of an interest-bearing account to go and park it with Wise, which you're getting no interest. And now I have to figure out if I'm going to move the money back to my bank account, which I never done before, but I know there would be fees involved, or try some other way to get the money. So while I'm here, what I'll do is use the debit card, as I could remember that PIN. I use it for money here instead of my credit card, which I have some cases here, these are the big supermarket, I go use my credit card, which is not the wise way I usually do it, because I have the money there and I use my credit card. Why? Because the credit card can give me points. It can be hotel points or airline miles or cash back something. So I make, every time I spend, I make my money do double duty. That is it. I make my money do double duty. That's why I will swipe a credit card and I don't use a debit card, because debit card don't work for me. A credit card don't work twice for me. I'm going to get what I want. I'm going to build up some points, and who knows, get cash back or something. So Pauline the Hayes, the old Paula, took over the plan for the new Paula. And remember, the new Paula is young in comparison with the old Paula, because the old Paula had years of making these harsh decisions and these rash ones. So that made me dial back a bit. I said, okay, I look at it this way. If I have some way, it will be far more economical, or it cost me less, as against if I'm just renting month to month. But then again, renting month to month, it will put me in the position that I have flexibility, as against having somewhere even when I gone, because the summer I already have plans. And those plans aren't changing unless God say otherwise. So that means I would have had to be maintaining a place while I'm not there and all of that. And then when I do rent somewhere, they might have beds, yes, but then I have to get sheets, I got to get plates. Guys, so that is the lesson I learned. And I had to sit down and give myself grace. And at this point, I will share this with you, is that you might make a decision, or you had made a decision and you promised yourself, like for instance, you will never smoke, or you will never do this, or you will never do that. And then you find yourself, by the time you said you would never do it, half an hour after you do it. Don't hit yourself. Don't beat down on yourself because you did it. Because your mindset, these attitudes and patterns have got to catch up with your new way of thinking, right? And the more you beat yourself up, oh, I should have done that, I think to an extent then you're confirming the old behavior. You're not helping the new one. Just step back. It's grace. In my case, it wasn't a lose a limb. I ain't get myself in no trouble. I just give myself that grace that, okay, Paula, you're losing out on your 3.5% interest, which I'm getting with American Express savings account. Yes, it is good. And park it with Wise. So I got to see if I'm going to reverse my money out of Wise Garage and see if it could work somewhere for me. But there's it. So there's my first week. Remember I said in my last video that I'm focusing on my health and exercising, and so I'm excited. At least I'm keeping up with my exercise. I even increased, now I'm doing like 25 minutes per day, and I'm going 6 days a week. Sunday I said no. Sunday got to sleep late, I'm not exercising. But 6 days a week I'm exercising. Well, the sleep still in the gutters. Still getting into bed 11 o'clock, 11:30, 12:15. That is one I have to really try and rein in. Force myself, perhaps put an alarm on the phone, that it will alarm and tell me it is 10 o'clock, it's time for me to get to bed, or 9:30, so I'll get myself, prep myself for bed, and try, even if I don't sleep, just go and lie down. Well, the eating, I could say I'm eating more fruits now, because the fruits here are very sweet, they're very fresh, very, very reasonable. Like I got some pears and a container of strawberry, and it was less than $2. So the fruits are so sweet, it's so cheap, it's so fresh, that you could consume more. So I had my fruits so far. I had fish, which is good because I can't remember the last year I purchased fish. I usually eat fish if I go to a restaurant and they have their serving, especially in Georgia or Turkey. I was eating a whole lot of it. But me going and buying fish and cooking it, I can't remember the last year I done anything like that. But I got it and I was able to steam my fish head. So I'm doing well. Guys, this journey, I know it will have its hiccups. And I could say experience it in the first week. But when I look at all those other little things that didn't go right as against what go wrong, the good outweigh the apartment or wherever went on the cold place, not understanding the taxi driver. All of that is nothing in comparison with I just looking through the window, experiencing something different, going out to the bakery that is just down the street and getting my fresh bread or a dessert, walking over the road and getting my fish. I haven't gone to buy anything like chicken or sauce yet, but getting my vegetables, all the oranges and the tangerine and the apples. Oh God, the apple was so sweet and it tastes so different. The pears, I could say I had a very good first week. And I'm affirming it's going to be better. So, if you're listening to me for the first time, welcome, 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 welcome. If you're a returning subscriber or visitor, welcome also. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the notification button so YouTube will let you know when a new video is uploaded. Also, please share. It will be greatly appreciated. I need all the support I could get on this channel. Guys, if you had listened so far, I thank you. You see there's some changes I put in on the name of my YouTube channel and things like that. I'm working on it. And as I make more changes, you guys will see. And I'm thanking you for your support before, and I'm looking forward for your continued support. And please share the channel with your friends and family. So take care and have a blessed week.